Ladies and gentlemen, it's David Hall here, founder and chief executive of the Idea Centre, and here to provide an overview of the creative problem-solving cycle, which is a key tool for a creative facilitator and provides the structure for the creative problem-solving process. Now, if you're running a creative problem-solving session, it's always ideal to walk into that session with a good understanding of what the key issue is that the problem owner is trying to address, and we refer to that as the problem as defined. The intention of the session is to start with that problem as defined and run through a process that will deliver a novel and useful idea, which is our standard definition of creativity. Now, in order to do that, we first need to overcome a mental block that is effectively hardwired within our brains that prevents us from being creative. It's as if within our brains we have hardwired a 6-lane superhighway, which is effectively the useful superhighway. As soon as we get a whiff of a problem statement, we instantly move into problem-solving mode, shooting down this useful superhighway and hopefully generating an idea that's useful, for goodness sake. It's not novel because it's largely based on the world in which we're trapped, our world of what is, in which useful ideas live, with no room for novelty whatsoever, because that sits outside that world of what is. Now, in order to get the team of people off that 6-lane superhighway, the facilitator needs to use a mix of what we refer to as divergent and convergent thinking. Divergent thinking, which involves the suspension of judgment, and convergent, which involves the application of judgment. And by cycling through this process, what we're able to do is to access novelty, which lives out here. And there are two cycles that we need to run through. The initial one associated with problem redefinition, which is effectively a supercharging process with regard to the problem definition, which converts it to what we refer to as the problem as understood. And this problem as understood is far more demanding than the problem as defined, effectively closing off that 6-lane superhighway, that useful superhighway through the idea generation process, such that the only way we can reach a solution is to diverge again, grab some more novelty, and then mix it with useful. So as we diverge in each cycle, we pick up a bucket of novelty, we take that bucket of novelty and carefully converge, applying judgment and mixing it with useful. So we go from the problem as defined to a fresh problem as understood, which has had an injection of novelty. The only way we can solve that problem as understood is then to diverge again, grab another bucket of novelty, and then gently converge and mix that novelty with useful. Within that idea generation cycle, we refer to an intermediate impossible, which is effectively the stepping stone towards a creative solution. This intermediate impossible would solve the problem if only it were possible. It's therefore novel, but useless. So unconstrained by any reality whatsoever. And that is effectively that moment at which we pick up the bucket of novelty. We then take that intermediate impossible, effectively a bucket of novel, and then very, very carefully mix it with useful. The aim of the process is to provide the problem owner with an idea that is both novel and useful. Novel in that they've never thought about it before, and useful in that they're excited about doing something with it. They can see how to extend their world of what is to incorporate that new novel idea, effectively shifting their understanding of the world and changing their frame of reference. What we're aiming for here is a single idea. This is a quality game, not a quantity game. We're not after loads and loads of ideas. If we can provide the problem owner with one cracking idea that they've never thought of before, but they're really excited about doing something with it because they can see how it could solve the problem, that's the outcome we're looking to deliver. If we deliver multiple novel and useful ideas, it will do little other than confuse the problem owner because they're not quite sure where to turn. And also recognise that this will be the germ of an idea. It will not be fully formed. Useful ideas are based on pre-wiring in the brain, so they're reasonably well thought out and they're practical always from the point of formation. Novel ideas, by contrast, by definition, are new. They involve new connections in the brain, and those new connections are inherently fragile and need time to develop. So the end point for a creativity session is simply the germ of an idea that the problem owner, maybe with the support of some of the colleagues that were involved in the session, can incubate outside the problem-solving exercise in the coming days or even weeks. Even if it takes a month to incubate an idea to a point at which you're confident in its implementation, how cool is that, for goodness sake? It's only as a result of the creative intervention that you'll actually get there. And the entire duration of the creative problem-solving cycle, certainly with people who've done it before, should never take more than 60 minutes. So it's a small group of people, maximum number of 6 people in a room, delivering a creative outcome within a 60-minute duration. This is pragmatic, real, focused creativity, serious creativity.